Hello, everybody. Thank you again for joining me on another episode of Powerhouse U. I believe this is episode 11 for me, so congratulations to me for that.
Congrats on that.
Thank you, thank you. So today I am accompanied by Nathan Roberts. Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
Hi. So Nathan is actually a commercial real estate agent focused on a medical and office building selling and leasing. And he actually is out of Kansas City, Missouri. That's actually the market that he works, the territory. And we're just going to break down a couple things as to why he decided to do medical and office building sale and leasing, and why he enjoys it so much, and how it could also be an opportunity for anyone else out there who's interested in working in the same space he's in. So without further ado, Nathan, take it away. Let the people know who you are.
Okay, as you all know, Nathan Roberts. I'm a commercial real estate agent here in the Kansas City market. So prior to actually getting into real estate, was born and raised in Columbia, Missouri. Came up to Kansas City in 2016 for UMKC. So I just recently graduated back in May of 2020. And my transition over to commercial real estate started out on the residential side, working with investors looking for single families up to fourplexes. And eventually that just branched off to commercial. Actually, one of the managing partners here had a pre-existing relationship with her for a few years since I was like 19 years old, just with my involvement through the Urban Land Institute. And I was just doing a lot of prospecting for off-market deals, just trying to find for my investor clients, and realize like all the time that I'm spending doing that, I could be making larger transactions or more money on the commercial real estate side, on top of the emotional side of things, or slightly being taken away of when you're a lot more sophisticated investor. So transition over to the commercial side back in this is actually October 3rd of 2020. So a few months after graduating, and it's been great. I mean, it's definitely good to come in when there's like an economic downturn, especially with COVID, just because that just allows for a lot more learning opportunities there. And if times are hard then, and it's harder to actually get clients at that point in time, it makes it a lot easier when times are good.
Exactly. So you're coming up on your 2 year mark
I
from
am, yeah. It'll be 2 years in a month, so October 3rd.
congratulations,
Very excited.
congratulations. So when you made the switch from residential to commercial, what was it that
Mhm.
just was a driver for you for that, and how do you like it so far?
Oh, I love what I'm doing. So I would say the biggest driver was, I mean, this was a broker that I already had a pre-existing relationship with. I interviewed with a few other brokerage firms. This just seemed like a better fit when it came to the culture and just having the flexibility to decide what avenue I want to go down as far as being a commercial real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't pigeonhole you like some of the larger brokerages into either doing multifamily, retail, office, or industrial specifically. I can pretty much focus on all property types, but I think at the beginning, it's great to try new things to figure out what property type or what avenue you want to go down. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably a year and a half into the business is when you need to niche down and just be an expert at whatever property type you're focusing on.
Okay, which is leading me to my next question, because okay, so your focus right now is medical office and medical and
Yeah.
office building and leasing. So when you first, how long did it take you to decide on that, and what made you to decide that this is your niche market and this is what you like?
Yeah, so I did transactions in a variety of different property types. My first transaction ever on the commercial real estate side was a church in North Kansas City. Everything else I've done retail leasing, retail sales, office leasing and sales, and then medical office. For me, when I transitioned over to commercial or to Clemons Real Estate, I was primarily focusing on multifamily. That was just very hard to actually get into, just because all the property owners I was reaching out to, they already had like 10 previous calls that day. And these were by expert brokers that's been in the industry for 20, 30 years. And it's just very hard to compete with that. And eventually just started working with a lot of business owners, and realizing that's truly what I wanted to do, help them actually get to the point that they want to be at with their business. And as a lot of you all know, I mean, the number one operating expense for a business is their employees. Number two is real estate. So being able to represent businesses and actually get them the right concessions and be able to decrease whatever their lease value is effective for their business. Because if they can pay, let's just say, $5,000 to $15,000 less over the course of a few years, I mean, that's money that they can put more into like marketing or things that are actually going to grow their sales side of the business.
Mm-hmm. And then I talked to you about it earlier, but tell the people to date, how many transactions have you closed when it comes to leasing?
Okay, so this is leasing and sales. So I've closed 26 transactions so far. Most of them have been leasing. I've had a few property sales when it comes to office. I have a few one-off deals right now that are retail shopping centers that I'm trying to get sold. But yeah, most of the out of 26 transactions, most of it was office leasing.
So
So
in less than 2 years, you've done 26 transactions.
yeah.
That's actually something
So
that's very good. That's definitely something to be proud of, especially working in commercial real estate. So
thank you. I appreciate
congratulations.
that. I think the biggest thing is just building relationships. I would say probably 70, 80% of my business is all referrals. So I
Hmm.
do partner up with a lot of residential agents who don't really understand the commercial leasing side of things. So for a residential agent, they're probably not going to know the three main lease structure types. So that can include like triple net leases, full service gross or triple or modified gross lease structures. And I kind of offer that middle ground for them to either refer a client over to me and I can pay them a referral fee, or
Hmm.
we can partner on the deal. I can teach them through the process, and I'm just getting a higher split with that collaboration there.
Right. So, okay. So with that being said, so I'm assuming one day you just came to the office and said, today I'm just going to only focus on office buildings and medical, and I'm just going to grind it. And that's how you were able to build those relationships, or were these pre-existing?
I wish it was that easy. I think choosing your property type kind of comes down to experience and figuring out what you actually enjoy doing. And knowing that I like working with business owners and figuring out the nuances with leasing for them and just negotiating a great lease structure to where it's in favor of both the tenant and the landlord.
Hmm.
Because when a tenant is going to the landlord directly, I mean, they're 9 times out of 10, they're communicating with the landlord rep, and they're only representing the best interest of the landlord. They're not going to tell you what concessions you can ask for. They're not going to help you with drafting the LOI. And
Uh-huh.
that's one way that businesses can be taken advantage of, because they don't realize some of the things that they're going to be paying for outside of whatever their base rent is. Now, look at shopping centers, for example. A lot of people, the average person doesn't understand what a triple net lease structure is. They don't understand the three nets, which are your pro rata share of taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance. And a lot of people get taken advantage there. Like when you go and tour with the landlord rep, they're telling you what the base rent is. Like, unless you ask for the triple net charges, they're not going to tell you that up front, which I don't really understand why they're doing that in that instance. Because once you get into the lease, then you realize you have all these extra expenses that you didn't
Mhm.
account for.
Okay. And then when you did start, which clearly you've had a lot of success in this short period of time, and you're focusing on the business owners and giving them what they want, and actually paying attention to the portions of the lease to where, they may be doctors or such, but, leases are foreign. So
Yeah.
when you started, what was your competitive edge? How did you start as a beginner to compete with these people that have been doing this for so long?
Yeah. So with representing tenants, so being a tenant rep, that's a lot easier than being a landlord rep. With tenant reps, I mean, you just got to tell them what value you're actually providing. If they don't see the value, they're never going to hire you as their tenant rep.
Hmm.
For the most part, my value is telling them like, "Hey, I'm here to save you money. I'm here to save you money in time. Time because I'm going to be vetting all of the properties in the market to make sure they fit your requirements, make sure they're within your price range, making sure that you're getting the right concessions. And guess what? It comes to no charge to you. So it's not free. I never tell people that it's free, because there's a cost associated with everything. I just tell them that, hey, my commission is being paid by the landlord because the landlord rep has to split their commission with a tenant rep. So,
Hmm.
I mean, you're essentially getting free representation. I'm going to help you negotiate on behalf of the tenant with the landlord, and you're just getting a better deal all around. I'm going to be able to save you money and time. So why would you not hire someone like that?
They're right. Okay. And then
Now on
so,
the
oh, go ahead.
Now, I would say on the landlord rep side, it's a little bit more it's a little bit more complicated. But I just won a deal over a broker that's been in the industry for 30 plus years. This was 3,100 square feet of office. How I was able to get that competitive advantage is I'm just letting them know, like, hey, like I am busy. I got a lot of things that I'm working on. But look at this broker that's been doing it for 30 years. He's not going to put in the time and effort as I am to get your property leased up. I mean, I'm young, I'm hungry, and I'm ready to eat. And that's what I tell
Yeah, I
them.
could
Like I'm
tell.
I'm here to get a transaction done. I'm not here to put your property on the market and have people calling me. I'm gonna actively be out there getting your property in front of as many prospects as possible, and that's gonna increase the chances of you getting your property leased up. So I tell them, I was like, hey, if you want someone that's going to take a traditional approach to marketing, along with contemporary approaches, putting it on social media, getting it out there to the masses, hire me. If you're looking for something that's traditional that has worked, but it's constantly changing over time, go with a different broker. And 9 times out of 10, I always get that. So
You're big time out there, huh, Nathan? I'm loving the
I would say
energy.
I'm not big time at this point. There's still a lot more learning and growing to do, but I've definitely been helped out by the mentors that I have. So.
Yeah, well, you're big time enough. I must say that you're doing a lot more work than a lot of other agents who start do, because some of them do it part-time, and they have excuses
Mhm.
for not grinding, and some of them have a fallback plan. You're going
Mhm.
after this like there's just no tomorrow. And the proof is there.
There,
You're taking the time to learn everything, learning how to communicate, getting deals over people that have been in the industry for probably longer than you've been born.
yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely a great thing. So in addition to having the mentors that you're having and the people around you that are helping you get to where you're going, which it seems like they're doing a good job of being a support system for you too, which is great. Now, too, what professional organizations, in addition to your mentors, what professional organizations have you joined, or would you recommend someone join that is pretty much
Yeah,
looking to go about this industry or like you're doing?
yeah. There's so many. I would say if you're young, I mean, honestly, anyone in any age group or demographic that's looking to get into commercial real estate, look into like a local ULI chapter. So Urban Land Institute, look into CCIM, that's Commercial Certified Investment Member Groups. Look into SIOR development, or SIOR, that's the Society of Industrial and Office Realtors. Like there's so many professional organizations out there that you can just join. The biggest thing is just building relationships with people in the industry that you're striving to get into.
Hmm.
On commercial real estate, I mean, you don't have to be college educated to get a position. Honestly, it comes down to who you know. And a lot of that just kind of entails going to professional events. I mean, when I was on the residential side, I was like 19, 20 years old going to all these events. You're going to be the youngest person there. If you're less than 30 years old, you're going to be the youngest person there. And that's one thing that gives you that competitive advantage, because people are like, God, this guy, he's young. Like he's only 22 years old and he's going to these events that no one else his age group is doing. So that's just showcasing to them, like, you're willing to put in more time and effort to get to the point you want to be at compared to your peers out there. And that's one thing that you can leverage on. Another thing is try to get people in your circle that you want to be similar to. So let's just say for brokers, an example, try to get a mentor. It's not. I mean, it's a lot easier than it sounds. I mean, it's just a matter of building a relationship with them. Take them out to for coffee. Take them out to lunch. Just pick their brain. Understand the nuances with the industry, what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy doing, and eventually you'll get to the point where they're ready to bring you on as an associate, or just getting your name out there.
So you started
Because even
young. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, even if you don't get a position with that person that you're building a relationship with, at least your name is getting out there. They may
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with someone else that's like, oh, have you heard of X, Y, Z? And they're just like, no, I haven't. Is this someone I need to know? And when they figure out you're a go-getter, you can use that as leverage to try to get all these other positions.
Right. And then, okay, so what I was actually going to ask you is you got introduced to commercial real estate young, right?
Yeah.
When you started. So where did you learn about the industry from, and what made you think to actually go at it full time?
Yeah, so for me, knowing that I was on the residential side about 3.5 years prior to transitioning over to commercial real estate, I got licensed at 19 years old, so that definitely helped me out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the commercial side. Technically, I was 22 for like 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
but I was 22 for 2 months. I would say that transition over. I mean, it was a matter of just going to all these different professional events and just seeing, like, you go into a room and you see all these big players talking about these deals that they're putting together, and you're just like, I need to hear about these deals. How do I get in on these deals? How do I get a part of these larger transactions? And honestly, that was just a matter of switching fields from residential over to commercial real estate.
So
I
you
mean, the
came
big
into
players,
it.
they're either talking.
Oh, so you came into real estate thinking you were going to be a residential real estate agent, and then you found out about commercial and
I
found
did.
out you were on the wrong side.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the residential side, I didn't work with first-time home buyers. I started with a boutique investment firm called Canopy Road Real Estate. So I
Mm-hmm.
was primarily only selling duplexes and fourplexes and single families. And while I was doing that, I'm just like, why am I putting together? Like, it's a lot of time and effort to prospect for a small 50 to $80,000 property. When I'm just like, I need to be in multifamily. I need to be doing larger transactions. And a lot of people, what a lot of investors don't realize is like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can become a millionaire. The fastest way to become a millionaire is through real estate. I'm like, yes, but it's through commercial real estate. I don't know many millionaires out there that are investing in all these single families. Eventually, they start getting into commercial real estate. That can be multifamily, 5 units and up. That can be office. There's so many different property types that you can go down. But in
Definitely.
order to accumulate a massive amount of wealth, it's not through single family, it's not through residential, it's through commercial real estate.
I totally agree with you there. You have no debate for me there, sir. None at all. So, if you were to actually speak to people in your age group or younger about commercial real estate or getting into real estate, period, what advice would you give them?
Number one advice: get out there and just meet as many people as possible. I mean, there's just not enough young people going to these professional events, and like, all you got to do is show up. You don't like, you can be an extreme introvert, just show up. There's going to be people that gravitate towards you because they're going to see you're the youngest in the room. I would say the average age at most professional organizations I'm going to is probably, I'd say probably mid 40s. When you're half the average age for that room, I mean, you're going to stand out regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, like, I took advantage of so many free events while in school. I was going to CCIM breakfast, meeting with all these like high end net worth individuals at 20, 21, 22 years old. And I got into those for free because UMKC, it's the University of Missouri, Kansas City, they had an affiliation with CCIM. They had like a fast track program with their master's program. But also, if you were a student, you can go to the CCIM breakfast for free. I'm like, why would you not take advantage of that? I mean, you're learning. You're just learning. I tell people all the time, don't focus on the money when you're super young because the money will eventually come. As
Mm-hmm.
long as you have like, as long as you're increasing your knowledge base and just getting slightly better each and every day, you're going to be far ahead of someone that starts their career at 30 years old because you still have years to go before you get 30 years old, and that's just years of learning, years of perfecting your craft, and just increasing your value proposition.
Right. So, I actually did have a question for you, and it kind of slipped my mind. Oh, yes, I remember now. So, what does the average day look like for you as an agent?
Yeah. So I would say the average day looks like it's a lot of prospecting. Like, even like, one thing you have to realize is like real estate can be an up and down cycle when it comes to your revenue, right? You have to constantly be prospecting. Even when you're busy, you should be prospecting because there will be times where you have uh, all of these deals and you're getting all this money, and then you realize you haven't been prospecting for the next 3 to 6 months. You got money now, but what about the next 3 to 6 months? Do you have anything in your pipeline that's going to lead the revenue thing? And that's one thing that it takes a lot of time to realize. It's like you have to have extensive time management, because when you don't manage your time wisely, I mean, your day goes by so fast. Like you can be in a few meetings, a few tours throughout the day, and you're driving all around the city, and before you know it, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's not the end of the business day, but that's when things start to dial down. Like you should get most of your prospecting and everything done before 3 o'clock, because the executives or the decision makers in within any company, they're probably leaving the office early. Why? Because they got to the office early.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the day in, day out, the day in the life of a commercial agent, it's a lot of prospecting. It's a lot of just building relationships, being in front of people, just trying to meet as many people as you can. And you also have to make time to get the deals done. So actively negotiating certain LOIs. It's a lot of paperwork. That's probably the part of my position I don't like doing, is the paperwork, but it has to get done. You got to put it in your transaction manager in order to get paid, right? You can't just close the transaction and not do the work to actually get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of prospecting. It's a lot of building relationships. It's a lot of tours. It's a lot of everything. And no day is the same. Like each and every day is going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time going to professional events. A lot of them normally start, I mean, a lot of them start at like 3:30 to 7 o'clock. So you kind of, I mean, once it hits 3 o'clock, I mean, honestly, your day's pretty much gone. So one thing I try to do with the prospecting is, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I try to designate 1 to 2 hours in the morning time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tuesday and Thursday, I try to do the afternoon. The reason why I try to do that flexibility is so, let's just say I have a client that is only available in the morning time. If I schedule all my prospecting in the morning, Monday through Friday,
You're not
I
gonna
don't
hit
have any
them.
time to give them to tour properties or to get deals done when I'm prospecting. Prospecting is the number one thing you should be doing every day, because even though you're getting deals done now or you're working to try to get things closed out, if you're not focusing on what's going on in the future, I mean, it's just going to be an up and down revenue cycle. There's going to be times where you have a lot of money. There's going to be times where you're broke, and you never want that. You want it to be a constant stream of income.
You're correct. So outside of commercial real estate, because we see you're hustling and you're doing everything it takes to get there, and you're definitely going to get there. I hear it in your work. I hear the passion and the drive. You're definitely, what does it say on Forbes? 30 under 30. I see you headed that
Oh,
way. So you're
oh, thank you.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, no problem. So outside of working real estate and doing transactions, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy?
Yeah. So I'm passionate about a few things. I would say when it comes to like philanthropy based things, like I'm very
Mhm.
passionate about like working with at-risk youth. I'm not currently working with them, but that's a dream that I have. They eventually open up some sort of community center to just work with at-risk youth to allow them to see different avenues that they can go down. I was considered at risk growing up, and I would say the thing that differentiates me from some of my peers in my neighborhood is just having mentors, having people in my community that was like, hey, like that would take you out to lunch and just teach you about their position or what they're doing. I mean, certain, I mean, I think it kind of comes down to like where you grow up, right? I grew up in Columbia, Missouri. It's a very diverse town. Now, if you grow up in a big city, I know there's a lot of like, there's still a lot of like redlining, like certain schools is mostly one ethnicity, and that's kind of detrimental to someone's forecast on like how they're going to turn out, and definitely their community. So I definitely want to have a huge impact on the youth in Kansas City and Columbia, Missouri, because if I didn't have those same mentors growing up, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I would say another thing I'm passionate about is just healthcare in general, right? I feel like there's in certain cities there's a lack of affordable healthcare or just healthcare access or equity in certain neighborhoods. Now, here in Kansas City, we have this thing called what's known as like the Truth Divide. On the east of Truth is when there's like lower socioeconomic class. On the west of Truth, it's higher. So that means there's a higher concentration of businesses, amenities, restaurants, retailers, things like that on the west of Truce. Once you get the east of Truce, I'm not going to say it's a ghost town, but that's when you get into higher crime rates. That's when it's a more impoverished area. There's a lot of things that as far as amenities they don't have on the east side of Truce. And one thing you can tell, you can walk across, literally just walk across Truce, and you can see a complete difference. Like you will see boarded up houses, you'll see like if there is like a convenience store or something like that, it's probably going to be like a liquor store, a gas station, or something like that. But there's not access to readily available healthcare. And you just always have to travel over to the west of Truce in order to get certain amenities. And that's one thing that I'm hoping to change within the city.
Okay, which I definitely see you headed there. You're headed in the right direction. So, uh, as you can see, being an at-risk youth did not stop you from reaching your full potential. And you are still young and you're doing it. And you see, I'm over here just grinning and smiling because just in this one call, I'm like, man, I need to step up my game. You're over here and you're doing it. And I definitely I commend you for that. So good work from me to you. And then
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. So me and Nathan have been connected on LinkedIn for quite some time now, and I've been watching his videos or their educational videos to where he shows you or tell you a lot of information pertaining leasing and selling of office buildings, medical buildings, etc. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, Nathan is definitely one to watch and follow. You will not be disappointed. You will learn a lot following him, and you will learn a lot following him in the future because you can see that where he's headed is someplace far. So thank you again, Nathan, for joining us on today. Is there anything that you wanted to say before we cut the episode?
Yeah, I would honestly just the last thing I want to end with is like whatever you're passionate about, just keep going for it. I mean, the moment that you stop trying to pursue whatever your dreams or aspirations are is the moment that it ceases to exist. So like if you can just stay on your grind and just every day just try to get slightly better. Like even if it's like a small incremental increase, like at the end of the year it's going to be tenfold. So um yeah, if you all want to follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram, I'm big on that as well. I actually need to start posting a lot more content. It's just been crazy busy these past few weeks. But you can follow me at CRE with Nathan. So it's commercial real estate with Nathan. If you just look up that hashtag, or not that hashtag, but that username on Instagram, on LinkedIn, just type in Nathan Roberts, probably commercial real estate here in Kansas City, and you'll probably find me. So I'm just honestly just trying to be a resource to the community. So if you all have any questions or you just want to connect, let me know.
You said CRE with, oh, there you are right there.
Yeah, CRE with
Follow.
Nathan.
I found you. So I just followed you on Instagram myself. I look forward to seeing your
Okay.
postings here. So that is it for this episode, everyone. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again for watching another episode of Powerhouse U. And I might check up on Nathan again in the next 12 months because I know wherever he's at, he's going to be someplace great. All right. So thank you
Okay.
again, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
See
Bye.
you all.